remember there was so little sound. Gurgling, mostly. Some harsh rasping for breath. Perhaps I severed something in Casimir's vocal cords. They weren't working. I stood up, and he seemed so distant below me, huddled and bloodied on the floor. Blood jetted from his throat in rhythmic arterial arcs. Each spurt came more slowly, each weaker than the one before, like an old clockwork toy slowing down. Every surge, another last tick of the works. Casimir turned over and began to crawl toward his pants, fumbling into his pockets, reaching for his phone. His hands were palsied. I watched him claw the phone from his jeans pocket. Casimir cradled the phone with his stuttering, weakened hands. He jabbed the screen with his forefinger, vainly trying to hit the emergency number icon at the bottom of the screen. I kicked the phone out of his hands and across the room. It made a satisfying whoosh before thudding solidly against the wall. Casimir looked up at me, his whole body deflated, limp and lost. He paused in an exquisite stoppage of time, caught like a film still in the black frame of nothingness. And then, my breath caught in reverence, I watched as his eyes grew blank with ethereal suddenness. It's such an intimate thing to witness another's death. Orgasms are a dime a dozen. Any old human woman can see a man orgasm. We so rarely get to see them die. It has been my greatest gift and my most divine privilege. There was blood, a lot of blood, such great black-red sprays of blood in the firelight. It's shocking how much blood a body holds. I'd seen it before, but it never gets old. I stepped and slipped, blood underfoot, blood trickling like chocolate sauce off my breasts, onto my belly, and down to the slit of my pudendum. Blood everywhere. I read somewhere that in filming Psycho, Hitchcock used chocolate sauce to simulate blood, and looking at my delectable body, he made a good choice. I walked across the room and checked to make sure that Casimir was dead. Pressing fingers against his pulse points, I found nothing. Where Casimir had been, there was not. Naked, but for a pair of latex gloves, I wrapped up the remainder of the duck confit to bring with me. Then I laid out layers of woolen clothes on a chair by the door. I checked my steps around the house, chucking anything that might have my prints into the center of the living room. I moved about the kitchen, cleaning up telling traces. When I felt sure I'd wiped, tossed, and cleaned all of my marks, I showered, taking my time, drying my hair. Then I tossed all of Casimir's belongings on top of his cooling body, and I poured the rest of the mason jar of alcohol over the muddled mound of corpse, clothes, dishes, and pans. I scattered a few corks on top of the mess. At the door, I dressed, lit a match, and tossed it into the center of the room. A bright, clear flame flew with a whoosh, and I turned out the door, into the darkness. Paces down the walk, I could see the flames bright orange through the beach house's wide, clean panes of glass. I walked past a row of darkened, still houses down to the shore. The wind blew clean and hard, cutting through my canvas overcoat as I walked along the beach. I walked for an hour or so in the black, the smell of the sea washing me, the stars peering like wallflowers from behind the curtains of cloud. A half hour later, fire trucks passed me, sand whirling like dervishes after their wheels, their sirens wailing banshee songs, their red lights blurring like two drunks talking. I returned to Dunewood, to the house I'd borrowed from my friends, took another very luxurious shower, settled down on their ivory shabby chic couch, poured a nice glass of cognac, and watched a couple of episodes of television before falling asleep, delighted. The house in Robin's Rest Wasn't my house, you see. It wasn't even the house of my friends. It was just a house, a stranger's house, an empty house, located apart from others, one with an easily picked lock and running electricity. A house closed for the season, empty of people and barren of company, and now it was burnt. I'm quite certain the owners had insurance. After all, they had a lovely Le Creuset cast-iron French oven. That sort is always well insured.